Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Black Tower Podcast, a Wheel of Time podcast. I am one of your hosts, Andrew.
And I am the other host for today, Daniel.
And Josh is busy celebrating the day that his fuck trophy was removed from his wife, also known as a child's birthday. So he is celebrating his daughter's birthday today.
Wow.
I don't remember exactly how young she is, but I know she's very young.
She's a preteen.
Yeah. So having a birthday in the midst of a pandemic where a lot of your friends, either because of their choices or their parents, trying to do the best they can, with social distancing, and do their part to fight the pandemic here in the States. They can't come to a party. I know that's hard, and it's harder the younger you are.
Indeed.
Which is not a phrase I ever thought I would say in my life and hope to never say again.
Got him.
So that is where Josh is. And we do wish his daughter a very, very happy birthday. And we look forward to seeing Josh back with us next week.
Indeed.
So, before we talk about what we're going to talk about, would you like to go ahead and slap on that old protection from the sticky icky?
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you might be aware by now, if you have listened to us before, we like to just jam it right into things all the way up through the series. Some of our topics are safe, but the vast majority of our topics are not. And this is no exception. We are going to be talking about a character that spans the entirety of the books. She is a very important part throughout the entire series. And while we will start on her, early life and early contributions to the story, which will only take us through a very little bit of the beginning of the series, we're going to get all the way up through the end. It's about length in this case, not girth. So you got to watch out for the length, because she's all up in this series.
But she's super girthy at a point in the series. But on a related note, when you say not safe, is saying not safe for work, is it? I mean, I know it's still technically appropriate, but should we change it to not safe for work from home in SFWFH? Because everybody should be working from home.
No, it's true. If you are listening to us live and you have children around, definitely pop in headphones. And if you are working from home,
your kids, and your choice, I suppose.
I mean, yeah, no, sorry, that is true. Please do what you think is right for your children. But hey, it's Bella. But
they might learn a couple extra things a couple years before, and you might get awkward questions like,
"Truth,
mommy, what's a hooker?" Or daddy,
mommy,
what's a hooker?
What's the difference between length and girth? I don't what do those words even mean?
Yeah.
But
the best person to answer that, and some people will get this reference. Unfortunately, you won't. I'll explain it to you later. But you just got to find a real nice, big, girthy bear of a man to explain to you definitions of all these things.
Indeed.
There's at least one person listening live right now that will understands exactly where that's from. So that's for you. It's for you, Zul.
I believe you.
And Iris. Yes. Iris was there for the last one.
So, definitely, if you have not yet finished the series, you can probably listen to maybe the first third of this episode, but you will get spoiled if you listen all the way to the end. You will get spoiled if you listen all the way till the end.
You're going to want to keep heading straight, make a left, make a right. When things start looking weird, that's where you might want to stop and take a nap for a little bit and come back once you remember where you're at.
Exactly.
Also known as read further in the series.
Correct. But
this is your warning.
That is your warning. So now that we have gotten that out of the way, Andrew, would you like to tell the lovely people at home what this lovely person's name is?
Oh, absolutely. So we love to do character deep dives, character discussions, character analysis, whatever you want to call it. And there's a certain pattern that follows, and those of you that have listened to the past ones might have picked up on it, might have heard us in, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 different episodes that we bluntly said it. But starting this next part of our character analysis and extra series, we're starting off today. Well, not starting off, we've done this before, but today's character, as I have continuously rambled on instead of doing exactly what Daniel asked me to and saying the name, which is the name I will say now. And it's a fantastic name, the best name, the most terrific name I've ever seen. No one makes names like this anymore. Uh, Elayne Trakand. Not to
Oh,
associate her with Trump. So,
oh,
not
sir,
to associate her with Trump.
sir,
I just couldn't
sir,
resist making the
what are you
joke.
doing? No, she is Elayne Trakand, by the grace of the light, Queen of Andor, Defender of the Realm, Protector of the People, High Seat of House Trakand, Aes Sedai of the Green Aja, and bonded to Randothor. And
Oh, I wasn't going
also
to go through all the titles yet, but I love it.
Boogie to Silverbow. And I
It
just
literally,
lied to
for a
you because
second,
I've literally just spoiled like half of her plot for you
yeah,
immediately with her titles. So sorry, everybody who I promised. Thank you. Thank you. I have
yeah.
worked
I
on
literally
that
thought
one.
you said, when you said Brigitte Silverboat, I thought you said Boogie to Silverboat,
Oh, yeah. No. And Boogie to Silverboat. Duh.
which I like a lot more. I like a lot more. Bond it to Boogie to Silverboat. There you go.
Oh, God.
Brigitte Silverboat's new alias. Boogie to Silverboat.
I mean, it's the name that she used when she was claiming that she was from the Northlands.
True.
Yeah, no,
True.
please, your standard condom is like 99% effective. The condoms here at the Black Tower are like 90% useless.
Yeah. The section was effective enough. It's like, hey, you hadn't read the whole series, you're gonna get spoiled.
I did say that.
It's effective enough for the FDA to approve it for its intended purpose.
Right? Even though I also lied.
Yeah. Shit happens. It's the taint. The madness gets to us all, right?
Right? I just,
Oh,
I don't even know.
so good old Elayne. Elayne is, of course, of Andorran lineage. She was born in 981 NE, and uh, I'm not going to say her status by the end of the series because that would not be in line with what we said we would do, but already didn't do.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
so go ahead.
yeah, yeah. So by the end of the series, she's still alive. She is one of those that survives the last battle, um, of her own right. Also with the aid of several other people throughout the entire series. Many
Truth.
times where Elayne almost got deported from life since we're making a lot of Trump jokes. Um, but so she's first mentioned in the Eye of the World in chapter 34, and then we first get to see her 6 chapters later in chapter 40, because ye old wool-headed sheep herder done did took a tumble while trying to see the fancy man wearing all black in the cage and fell into the royal gardens. Which every time I read it, I'm like, how the fuck does that happen? How is your wall so shitty that some random person just happens to climb, falls in the gardens, and gets to see the daughter heir and the first prince of the sword
Well,
right
I
there,
also
just
love how,
strolling
like,
about?
again, how many there's like no fucking outlanders who come to Camelin, and when they do, they know to avoid that part. Rand's just a fucking moron.
Yeah. I mean, I get that he's Taviran,
Heh.
but how does Taviran account for the fact that somebody was building the walls? They're doing this. They're like, we have walls around here to keep people out. We're going to keep them secure. Don't you think somebody's going to climb them and maybe hop over? Nah. It's never going to happen. Nobody climbs walls. Doesn't happen. What do you think they are from the Two Rivers? Those guys don't even know we exist.
Well, and I also love how it's like, yeah, hey, I'm gonna just climb this wall because I really want to see the fancy man. And then I'm gonna start climbing, and I'll be like, Psh, man, this is easy compared to the mountains I've
Mhm.
climbed in my life. And you're just like, dude, first of all, what? Second of all, he's like destroying his hands and whatnot. Because he
Oh,
even
yeah.
says in the book, like, he gets up to the top and he's like, hey, my hands are completely a mess. And then
Yeah,
he
well, to be
falls
fair,
in.
he's a mess.
I mean,
So
he is a mess. But then he falls in, and Elayne's like, dude, your hands are a mess. Why did you do that?
sounds like the last conversation I had with the last woman that shared my bed.
Your hands are a mess.
Climbs in, your
Why
hands are
did
a
you do that?
mess. I'm like, I just fell down. I don't know what I'm doing, stumbling in the dark here. It's
I
a big
climbed
city, never
I
been here
climbed a
before. There's
wall
a
to
lot of
get
other
here.
people here. It's really concerning, really scary, and there's some crazy dudes staring at me from the corner. I don't really know what to do.
Wow, you have some interesting bedtime
wasn't my shi-
experiences.
wasn't my shining moment. Wasn't my most favorite interaction with another human being for sure. So,
Sounds like it was
uh,
fun though.
Elayne, she is has most nobility across the majority of history, though not all encompassing. Described as exceedingly beautiful because that's what you say, or you lose your head. She has blue eyes and red gold curly hair that, by book description, favors more of the blonde, less of the red. But
Correct.
still, there's a partially soulless ginger joke in there somewhere, along with the gypsy
Strawberry
blonde
blonde.
stereotype
So
joke.
she's got like 80% of a soul.
Ah, 80% of a soul.
Yeah.
She's just living life trying to get that other 20%.
Yeah, no, she
Um,
tries to steal it from Rand.
yeah, true. Uh, so
But
she's
he's
known to
got red
have
hair, so I mean, he
true,
doesn't have one to steal. So she just
true.
fucked up. She
So
done
she's known to
fucked
have
up.
smooth skin, a perfectly oval face, because that's exactly what our chief concern is. Um, and it is believed that she can charm many with her pretty dimpled smile with her full red lips. She stands around one span 6 inches tall with, and this is a phrase I don't remember reading. I don't doubt that I read it, but I didn't think I'd ever read it or hear it again. Long, supple limbs.
Beautiful.
Just not the sentence I ever expected to see the word supple in, but okay. Um, she does have a resemblance both in her name and in appearance to Ileana. Of course, we know Ileana being the woman who Luthern is always screaming and crying out for, that he murdered in cold blood in a fit of madness and
Ileana,
rage.
Ileana,
um,
Ileana.
so if you've seen the Haunted Mansion, Rand's the ghost guy that thinks that he's doing the right thing, and she's really reincarnated, and Elayne is the reincarnated lost love that has no idea who the fuck he is.
Yeah, pretty
Doesn't
much.
even think she's
But she does
reincarnated.
fall for him. I mean, so in the end,
Yeah,
it
I
all
mean
works
it
out.
works. It works. I mean, which is not too far from the Haunted Mansion, because they do bring Elizabeth back of sorts to get with I forgot the dude's name, but whatever his name is. Anyway, um, so we've already talked about her eventually becoming an Aes Sedai, uh, being a member of the noble family of Andor, um, the daughter, or specifically the daughter heir of Andor. When we meet her, all daughter heirs are sent to the White Tower for training, uh, as a diplomatic good faith gesture to show um, allegiance and mutual respect. Though you can argue how mutual the respect actually is, between the Lion Throne of Andor and the White Tower itself. Um, but Elayne eventually, she's strong enough and skilled enough and extremely talented that she does eventually make her way through accepted, and then by appointment by a certain Amerlin later in the series, all the way to Aes Sedai, though has never taken the or done the affirmation test for Aes Sedai that we see in the books.
Correct.
Um, stands to reason that at some point after some uh, womanly business she has to take care of by the end of the series, that it would probably happen, just as a matter of ceremony and tradition. But you know, I would say we'll see, but we probably won't. Um, she is considered to be one of the most powerful channelers by right to be born in the last 1,000 years, and is depicted with the same potential of Egwene and Avienda. And there's only a dozen female channelers that we know are better or stronger in strength in the one power, such as Nynaeve, Olivia, Sharina, Talon, Mela, Bindre, Samarin, and of course the female Forsaken. Um,
Indeed.
the Wheel of Time companion gives her not the Wheel of Time. Is it the Wheel of Time companion? Does the Wheel of Time companion still use the strength chart, the strength levels with like the 8+5?
I
I
think
thought that
so.
was the Big White Book of Bad Art. It might be the companion. I don't actually have the companion open right now because I don't want to turn on the bedroom light to to read the page, because I have everything I need in front of me. I say that as it's a picture of Elayne laying under a sheet in a bed with a flower next to her, which we all know what happened right before that.
Giggity.
Um, the D of the D, which he kind of D'd and D'd, gave her the D and dashed.
Stop.
Hmm,
He didn't
sad.
give her the D and dash. He did it twice and then went to go cleanse. Well,
You went to go cleanse what? Yeah. Go ahead.
he went to go cleanse Sidene. Yeah, we've already completely
Oh yeah.
ruined protection. If you're still on here, you're. This is just. We're over.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the spoiler warning was given. Yet we said we would try at least, but it just never happened. Um,
Did her twice, then went to clean his taint. That
as
is the
you should.
best definition of what happened.
I feel like
Amazeballs.
at this point, anybody that's gonna risk listening to us live already knows that everything's gonna be so super spoiled.
Oh yeah,
Oh snap! Twisted's got the companion out. That's awesome.
indeed.
My eyesight
And it
is
does have her power level
terrible.
listed right there.
It does. Oh yeah, it does. Literally right there at the start. Thank you. Oh,
Yorp.
it does. Fantastic. Um. So channeling abilities. She says they kind of describe people as fast learners, and at some point, it becomes considered a bit of a talent. In Elaine's case, it perfectly makes sense. She can, generally speaking, see and study the forming of a weave just a couple of times, one or two times, and then instantly she's like, "All right, I got it." Um, she, along with Elayne, not Elayne, Elayne along with Elayne along
Yeah,
with Egwene,
Elayne along with Elayne.
was not a novice for very long, and then afterwards, like kind of how Nynaeve went in and immediately went for accepted, essentially. Um, and then further on, in terms of typical Aes Sedai rank progression, all three, moved from being of the accepted level to Aes Sedai level very quickly, uh, which is just a testament to not only just their pure raw strength in the one power, but also their ingenuity, their talent for manipulating side air, for picking up on things, um, and in some cases, like Egwene, uh, being forced to learn how to manipulate certain parts of the one power in ways that you wouldn't have really been taught,
Indeed.
necessarily.
Basically using Sidar as a weapon.
Mm-hmm. Um, but they have something very unique. So typically, as a novice and accepted, you spend all your time in the White Tower. You're doing your training, you're studying, you're learning about the world, you're learning about the history of the world, you're learning about how to be an Aes Sedai, how to conduct yourself appropriately, filling out your strengths and limits. And for the most part, Egwene, Elayne, and Nynaeve get none of that shit because they spend almost it feels until the latter part of the series. It feels like they spend less time in the White Tower and in Tar Valon than Matt does, um, which is saying something because he nopes out of there pretty fucking quick.
No, they
But
they actually are there quite a bit longer.
they're yeah, I know. I
As
said it
far as
feels
like
like
actually reading the books, it does definitely feel like they they don't, but they
yeah,
actually do. They're there for a
yeah.
bit.
So yeah, that's fair. In terms of actual time, yes, they're there for quite a while. Um, not it's not quite a while in respect to other novices and accepted and even Aes Sedai, but in terms of the way time passes when you're reading, yeah. Um, I just lost my train of thought.
Apparently. But it's okay cuz they do end up learning most of what they need to learn.
Oh yeah. Um, it's generally accepted or believed that we get to see characters like Egwene reach their full potential, but Elayne, uh, a fair number of people are of the opinion that we don't get to see her reach her full potential, and I actually agree with that. Um, not because it's not because she doesn't choose to, not because she doesn't try, but because certain things get in the way, and that's what happens whenever you decide to learn how to tame the dragon. Things get in the way, and you well before that even, as the heir to a throne and the rightful heir to the throne, and I would honestly believe the best person to take over the Lion Throne of Andor. That all gets in the way of doing what you wanted to do. Because Elayne obviously loves being an Aes Sedai. She loves channeling, like all Aes Sedai do, but she really is in tune with that world until she sees the need for her to return home and be the queen that she now has to be. Because at this point, for all she knows, her mother is dead, and that leaves
Correct.
Andor without a ruler, per se. Yeah, they still have the noble families that are making decisions in the royal court, and they're all kind of doing it in some kind of pseudo Dias Demar parliamentary style. But Elayne sees that she's like, I need to go home. I need to serve my people. I need to be the queen that I was always supposed to be, um, which is a fair callback to when we see her leaving with Gawain to the White Tower. Is that it's generally it's more of a good faith mission than an actual training because you can channel it. I mean it is that in part. Make sure you don't burn yourself out or burn yourself to ash like a certain male Forsaken does by the end of the world. Um,
By the end of the end of the world.
the eye of the world. Jesus Christ, English is hard. All right, leave me alone. It's my first language, but it's definitely not my first spoken language. The first one is gibberish. Um, yeah. So Elayne does a lot of absolutely incredible stuff. It's a lot of it is through Elayne exactly why we find out why the sea folk generally don't want Aes Sedai on their ships.
Oh yeah.
That's a huge thing because she's the one that she's just in absolute awe at the absolute girth of the flows of wind that the sea folk windfinders can channel, or air, not wind. What? I'm thinking Captain Planet, not Wheel of Time. Sorry, but you get what I mean. Same thing,
Air.
same idea.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
air and what other weave is it that's in there? I mean, it's all five. They actually do say that it's all five, but like
yeah.
the fucking just air fucking threads of power that are going into those sails is just just jamming it right into those sails.
It's so fucking big,
Oh god.
massive.
Wait, can we just all take our shirts off and jam air into sails? Just get it
and so,
right in there.
and Elaine is one of those people that you don't necessarily expect it when you first meet her, but as you get to know her, she's one of those kind of people, and she sees something new. she's almost entranced by it, and she wants to learn it. She wants to get trained. She's like, teach me, teach me, teach me. Anytime she sees something new or interesting. Um, Most notably, of course, we with Matt's Foxhead medallion. She wants to study it oh so bad,
Oh, so bad. Which
so
ends
bad.
up being very positive for everybody, but also ends up being, bless you, very
Oh, thank
annoying
you.
for Matt when it actually occurs. Because he's like, leave me alone! Leave me and my fox alone!
Oh, mom, I don't want to give up my toy. Leave me alone. It's mine. I earned it.
Mom, I almost got dead for this.
Uh-huh. You almost went to sleep. You made bad fucky wucky, so now you sleep in the forever box.
Good times.
But
But yeah,
yeah,
and
so
I mean, like, honestly, there are so many times that Elayne ends up doing that because she very much is that character. And granted, most of them are, but usually they have like their kind of signature area. Because like Egwene ends up going ahead and doing a lot of uh Earth related stuff once she figures out with the Shanchan that she can do that, and ends up, rediscovering the ways to make Quendiar and things like that. And that's great. That's dope. It's fantastic. But it's kind of like a single avenue of the power. And of course, she learns lots of other things, but she doesn't seem as jump on it in any other area than that. And of course, you also have Nynaeve, who's just like, no, no, no. If it has anything to do with healing, I want it in my body. Like, I want to know how to do it. Please teach me healing. And then I'm going to figure out stuff that you don't fucking know and then get really annoyed when you won't learn from me. But if it has to do with healing, then teach me. But Elayne's just
yeah,
like, ooh, wait, like, you guys can make wind really good? Teach me. And then she's like, ooh, wait, go ahead and teach me. Wait, Avienda, you like undid a weave? Fucking teach me how to do that. Oh, wait, Matt, you
teach
have
me how to
something that,
Dougie. Teach me how to
right?
Dougie.
And it's like she's like a kid with ADD. She's just like, ooh, shiny, ooh, shiny, ooh,
Yeah,
shiny. And she does
I mean,
actually
it's
like follow it through to the end. She does actually learn those things. It's not like she's entirely flighty. And she'll just like jump on something, then half learn it, and then move on. But it is like every new thing. Is there
but she
something I don't
gets it really
understand?
quick.
Let's go.
Yeah,
That's
she
also
gets a
true.
lot of this really quick, which is part of what allows her to jump from thing to thing. But the three of them are really good, very stark, very in your face examples of how the so called roles of the Ajas are not absolute.
Correct.
Because Egwene is by no means a pure green.
Yes.
She's a very heavy mix of green and a very heavy mix of blue. Initially green, and then she throws some blue in there, and I think those colors mixed together they actually make like shit brown. But um, that's not
Yeah,
exactly what I'm getting
shit,
at. It doesn't become a
brown.
brown, but with a little bit of brown in there actually because she does get so
Yeah, get a little
invested
brown in there.
in the history. That's disgusting. But she gets invested in the history of the White Tower, and learning the history she does is what allows her to find things she does. And then you get Nynaeve, who all three of them take a very large portion of the green mentality. You know, we have to be able to fight. We have to be willing to fight.
Also, men are
For the
dope.
Shadow Wing. Yeah. Um, and then Nynaeve, of course, takes a huge part of the Yellow Aja
Wait,
to a point where
there's an Aja that fucks people back to health. I want to be part of that.
yeah, let's do that. Um, and then Elayne she's I think she is the least green Aes Sedai. Oh, not the least green Aes Sedai, but of the three, she's the least green by the latter part of the series. She's still
Nynaeve?
very much all for it. No, Elayne.
What?
Yeah,
No, I wouldn't
yeah.
agree with
'Cause
that.
she takes for me she takes far more of a diplomatic approach, a political approach, and then a lot of pulling from the whites and taking a lot of logic towards the latter end of the series. she still has that fair good bit of green, which allows her to look at battle as it is. But a lot of that for me, I see is using the logic that she has through being trained her entire life to be a potentially inevitable ruler of an entire kingdom. Um, I definitely see Egwene as a far more uh, green heavy sister, and Nynaeve as a far more green heavy sister. Not to say that Elayne doesn't kick ass or be willing to, but by the end of the series, I don't see Nynaeve necessarily lose as much of her muchness in the Green Aja as Elayne does. But I think it's because things happen for Elayne that push her to focus on other things, right? There's things that happen that force her to kind of take on more of that diplomatic political role. And then ultimately, before the last battle, being, named essentially the commander in chief, forces her to take on more of that more like white Aja type role.
Yeah, so I will definitely agree a little and disagree a little, cuz on one hand I do definitely appreciate that, but one of the things that I will say is just because you don't fight doesn't necessarily mean that you're not a fighter. And what I mean by that is that uh near the end of the thing, she is definitely more about planning and bringing people together for a giant battle. It's not like she's trying to negotiate with the shadow. It's not like she's trying to go ahead and make it so that the last battle doesn't have to happen. It's that she's negotiating with the people on one side to get them all to go after the shadow. And so even though she's not really throwing that much of the power around, and she's not actually standing there doing a lot of real like fight, um I would definitely say that a lot of Greens, one of the things that I would say about the Greens is that they're Teddy Roosevelt. They are speak softly but carry a big stick, because they know what fighting is well, at least I shouldn't say that. Most of the current Greens don't actually know what it's like, but sort of this when the Greens were formed, they all knew what war was like. They were
No
the ones on the
one
front
knows
lines,
what it's like
right? And
to
so
be the
then
green sister, to be the mean sister behind 1,000 warders.
but yeah, so when they were formed, they were basically the ones who knew what war was like, and they knew that war was hell, and they were the ones
Yeah,
on the
it's
front
battle Aja.
lines, uh, doing the actual like the most in your face fighting. And that's why they're still called the Battle Aja, even though most of them haven't seen a battle in their entire lives. And so I think that that actually really does, in some ways, not make you less of a green if you try to avoid fighting. It's just trying to avoid unnecessary fighting, because you know that
That's
if
fair.
any shadow spawn got into the tent that fucking Elayne was, she would throw down in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah. I mean, what I'm saying is like, I guess by saying that she becomes less of a greenness, I don't really mean it as like she gives up some of her greenness, some of her battle readiness, but by virtue of the things that happen and the direction her life takes, with having to focus more on Andor, um, becoming pregnant, and those kind of things, which arguably the pregnancy thing is more of a very very late series type thing. Uh,
Truth.
but we see the political side happening during the plot, and it's actually a very nice reprieve from, oh, I've got to find Fail, where is she? Oh god. Um, that's whenever
Was
her
that
her
was that your
attributes.
parent impersonation? Because that was
Or
fantastic. That was
that's exactly
spot
what Perrin
on.
sounds like. Oh god, where is Fail? We have to find her. No, swing my hammer.
Okay, my stupid
Hopper, help
axe.
me.
I'm gonna
What do
throw
you
my
mean
axe
I'm
in a
here too strong?
tree.
But her other attributes really come out and they really shine and they become very apparent, and they do take a front seat to her other nature. And as a plot device, as character development, I think that's a lot of Robert Jordan and ultimately Brandon Sanderson trying to help flesh out some of the more rough corners of the characters to show that they are, though full of flaws, as everybody is, because nobody in the series has ever learned how to fucking communicate. Um, that never fucking changes at all in the slightest, not even close. Well, no, Moraine comes very close to being able to actually communicate with Rand, so she does it best, I think. But
Truth.
anyway, it's a lot of rounding out some characters to show that they're more than just this badass that can handle a lot of power and will go out and wreck your shit. Um,
Wreck your
and they do it in
shit.
different ways that follow them. Nynaeve gets to stay very true to her whole motive for becoming a wisdom and what was important to her, which brings out that softer side of Nynaeve that we get to see uh, about halfway ish through the series. More so, I mean, we get to see it earlier than that, but it becomes more and more prevalent. Um, and for Elayne, we finally get to see that daughter heir training coming out and how she handles things. And I mean, we get to see it before, as early as as the Great Hunt when she's trying to teach Rand how to be a ruler, or starting to. And even by the end, Rand says, I could have never been what the world needed me to be without your teaching on how to actually be a ruler. Because she is one of the ones that teaches him, like, look, being a ruler means taking the good along with the bad. You're going to win and you're going to save people, but you're also going to lose people, and you have to accept that as being a ruler.
Yeah.
That tickle was in the back of my throat for the last like full minute that I was talking, and it was annoying the living
That's
shit
what
out
she
of me.
said.
Jesus Christ. Um. So, uh, oh god, what was I about to say? So, you get to. She has an interesting family tree
She does.
that ties her. It ties her to being cousins to a distant cousin, as people as the series is very obvious about, but a distant cousin to her betrothed, to her one and only baby daddy. Um, but they are related
They
for
are.
issue of her relation to Galad, and then Galad's father being Tarangel, and his mother being Tigraine. No, yes,
Yes.
yes.
No, his
Um,
father being Janduin. Oh, sorry. No,
that's
yes.
right.
His
Yeah. Oh
Rand's
yeah.
dad is Janduin. Galed's
Yeah,
dad
you're right.
is
You're right.
Terrangale.
Yeah.
They both have Tigraine as a mother, and then of course Terrangale remarries after Tigraine fucks off to the waste,
Yeah.
and then has Gawain and Elayne with Morghese.
Yes. So they want it being related, and through Terangel, that also makes them related to Moraine. Um,
Correct.
so it's a very interwoven. Oh, I can't say weeby because it sounds like I'm talking about anime, but it's a very slimy, timey, wimey, limey kind of thing. Uh, where you're related to people you didn't think you are, and you be thankful that you didn't know that you were.
Oh yeah, it's a very Oedipus situation.
Which is also kind of
Not quite as bad
oh,
as that, but
which is also kind of, it's not really hilarious, but kind of sad because that also makes them all related to Slayer as well.
correct.
So, which is definitely nothing that, you've seen Harry Potter where Sirius's face on the family tree of the House of Black is burned out. Yeah, that's what should have happened to Slayer. Forget about it.
No, that was
Um,
good. I liked that.
I like it. So when she leaves Camelin, of course, Godwin goes with her. Elida needs to fucking go back to Tar Valon, fucking bitch. Um,
Freaking bitch.
yeah, and Min finds her way into Tar Valon as well, and is considered to be in the tower for her own safekeeping because of her outstanding perceptive abilities. Um, so as a young novice, someone accustomed to the world of nobility, but not accustomed to reality, as is often the case. Elayne is among the party that leaves with Leandrin um, very early on, and ultimately leads to Egwene's capture by the Shan Chan, but Elayne and Nynaeve do manage to escape. Min is also captured. Um, though well, I say captured. She's not really captured, but they watch her because she was with them, but she's able to kind of walk back and forth freely. Um,
Yeah, she's a prisoner because she can't leave, but not because she's actually a prisoner.
yeah,
She can do whatever she wants inside, but she can't leave. Just like Matt. Matt's not a
you can
prisoner,
check.
but he can't leave. He can,
You can
yeah, they
check
can
out
check out
anytime
whenever,
you want.
anytime they'd like, but they can never leave.
You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. What a
I will
good
be
point.
right back.
Yeah, no worries. I'll keep talking about Elayne. um, so they free Egwene, but all this is happening during the midst of uh, Rand fighting Ishmael. The Shan Chan have invaded and are attacking as well in Falma. And there's just this massive battle that goes on. You know, we know that this sets the stage for a certain White Cloak's grudge because you know they play a prehistoric game of telephone where everything gets back in the wrong ways, and in typical White Cloak fashion at this point in the series, they tell nothing but lies and they know nothing. Jon Snow, who better not win the poll on Twitter, by the way, we can't let that happen. There's no way Jon Snow is better than anybody in the Wheel of Time. All right, Galwin is better than Jon. Okay, well that's a stretch. He's really not, but it's almost that bad. Anyway, um, so she's there when that happens. Um, she goes back to the tower along with Egwene, Nynaeve, Huron, and Matt, being led, of course, by Varen Sedai, and they resume their training, um, and they get disciplined pretty harshly because they're seen as everybody thought they were runaways instead of victims of a Black Aja plot. However, Suan Shanchi, being the absolute legendary Amerlin that she is, acknowledges what happened and gives them some praise for persevering, but for public reasons and face value and not wanting to cause a panic, tells them you're gonna have to accept your punishment. To this point, that she does acknowledge their strength, their abilities, a lot of it being grown from what they just had to go through, and does approve of them being raised from novice to accepted, which does in turn necessitate that they go through um, the ter'angreal in the White Tower to pass the test. And we get some incredibly emotional scenes from Egwene, but we don't really get a lot from Elayne. 1 second, I have to cough my head off. Apparently. Oh, I'm gonna blame allergies because I was outside more today than I have been in the last several days. If it's not and it's COVID, remember me fondly or don't. My voice is here as a testament to how bad of a person I was. I don't know. Um, so, as a part of Suwon recognizing the shit that they went through and everything that was going on, she does entrust Elayne, Egwene, and Nynaeve to not only not be dark friends, but hunt down the Black Aja.
Indeed.
And she's like, "Who else can I trust? Oh yeah, how about the three people that were super fucked over by these assholes? You probably have a grudge. Let's use that, and let's
Yes.
put brand new people that are new to the world and know nothing against it because you're the only ones I can trust, which is fair."
I
Actually, no, it's
mean,
only Nynaeve and Egwene that are initially trusted, and they bring Elayne into it. Sorry about that.
correct. Yes. Egwene
Um,
and Nynaeve are the ones that she specifically tells, and she's like, I mean, Swan's smart enough that she's like, they're going to tell Elaine, but
yeah,
I can't tell Elaine because that would make me culpable. But if they tell Elaine, then I
right,
have plausible deniability.
right. That's a blue at heart right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so then we get to see some more of Elaine's brattiness because Nynaeve and Egwene are going to leave the tower to follow leads. What is going on? Why can't I stop coughing?
You have COVID-19.
I might act. Who knows? At this point, I wouldn't be surprised. Um,
Oh yeah, you
but
got that thing back, and the guy didn't have it, right?
no, I think he was waiting to even be tested.
Oh,
But that was like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Now I should be. Oh no, should be showing symptoms about now. Oh, we'll see.
wah wah.
Um, but
R.I.P. Andrew.
basically, yeah, it was good while it lasted. Uh, so Elayne she doesn't want to. Yes, I can still smell. Um, Elayne did not. For those of you that like, you hear these random comments in the recording. Like again, we do have live listeners. There's a live chat, so I'm not gonna ignore people just because this is a recording, because that's rude. And who do I look like, Elida? No. Um, but Elayne is still suffering her penance for them all running away. And so like Egwene and Eve are like, no, you don't have to go with us. We were just confiding in you. And she's like, fuck that. Y'all are gonna go have fun, and I'm here scrubbing pots. You can kiss my ass. I'm going too.
Truth. She is kind of like that in all cases. Wait, you guys get to go on adventures? Yeah. Fuck you. I'm coming too. You okay, buddy? Did you die? Oh, you muted. I don't know if you did that on purpose. Guys, we lost Andrew. Andrew is lost forever. But anyway, so yeah, Elayne goes with or leaves the tower with Egwene and Nynaeve as they go out to sorry, blah, huh. She does give Matt a letter to give to her mother as they all head off, because she knows that Matt will eventually make his way out of the tower. Because he's Matt and he just does things like that. Then they leave and they do stuff, and that's Elayne. Thanks for listening, guys. No, but I am a little worried about Andrew. I'm sure he just got a phone call or something, but still. But yeah, so at this point in the story, the girls all leave. They leave together. They go on a bunch of different adventures. They actually get captured by a number of different entities, bandits, fades, and then finally they get captured by oh god, it's the woman with the fork root. They get captured by the woman with
Oh
the
yeah, the
fork
one they
root.
think is a yellow sister, because Nynaeve sees the heart she's
Contact,
hanging.
yeah. She's
Yeah.
a
Oh,
yellow
what are the
sister
eyes and ears?
contact.
Yeah. So this
Yep.
is during the time where this is after Elida has taken over, right? And she's ordered everyone back.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
It happens. They leave shortly before it happens.
Oh, everybody think I was
Wait.
dead. Sorry, I had to
Yeah,
go and
we
use the
thought you were
restroom
dead.
and refill my cup. So
Yeah, we thought you were dead.
Generally, I use the
Please
opportunity.
don't do that without letting us know, because we all thought you were dead.
I just killed over. Done.
I mean, it's time. It's these times.
These times be crazy, yo.
Times be crazy. So actually, no, this wouldn't be after that. No, it is because they don't meet Jewel and Sandar. They meet Jewel and Sandar at about the time that happens. So yes, Elida has now taken over. They almost get taken back to the tower uh, by that chimera woman, something like that, who has the fork root. And Julian and Matt save them from that because Julian feels terrible because he was compulsed to go ahead and help fucking get them. Um, and then they get captured
Because I'm trying to
again.
remember the name, 'cause
Jesus,
they're
they
in,
get captured so much in
oh
tier.
yeah, all the time. 'Cause, well,
They're so
no,
useless
no,
when
the
they're
part
down
where the
there.
fork root happens is they're basically afterwards they're left with no other option than to go through Almadicia.
Correct.
Almadica. I'm gonna just
Amadesia.
call it Almadica. Almadica.
I'm a dick.
Almadica. Down. Yeah, they get super like they just bumble into traps. They're the kind of people like their philosophy is like, what's the best way to defeat a trap? Trigger it. So yeah,
Truer words were never spoken. No. We'll
danger
be able to
prone Daphne.
outsmart the trap. No, you won't. You're gonna just fall right into it.
Ronde Makura
Rhonda
is the one.
Makura.
That's
Makura. That's it.
that bitch.
That bitch. That
Because they're
Makura
in
woman.
Bardisen. Yeah.
That Makura woman. Yeah, Makura Chimera. I was so close.
Because they're because it was Ronde Makura and Lucy, and they actually weren't channelers. But
Lucy.
Nynaeve brews the fork teeth so strong that it forces them to lose consciousness.
Yep. Oh man.
So
Well, except it made them lose consciousness too.
I mean, it still worked. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it just
But it
doesn't
didn't.
stop their ability to channel because they can't fucking channel.
Yeah. And this is actually they're already going through Almadicia at this point, or Almadica at this point,
I'm a dick.
because they're like, where, yeah, they're like, where else can we go? And so they're trying to be super incognitus because Aes Sedai and land controlled by white cloaks, jizz cloaks. I'm gonna call them jizz cloaks for now until they get better. They're jizz cloaks, just sticky, nasty, and nobody wants to find them hiding in their bedroom. A
Though,
used nasty sock.
let's
There's
be
that image for you.
honest. Did you remember that Rafe Judkins says that Dane Bordhold has the best
Yeah,
costume?
I remember. You can have the best costume and still be the worst motherfucker ever.
Oh, I didn't say you
That
couldn't.
happens all the time.
That's
Villains.
absolutely accurate.
Actually, I think most of the time villains have better artwork and better costumes
Oh,
than the heroes.
100%. Dude, Jafar is way better than anybody else in Aladdin, and
Oh
fucking
yeah,
Loki has the best costume in all of Avengers.
yeah. I can't
Right?
argue with that.
Right? Yeah.
Ultron looks super badass. Iron Man is just like literally a dude covered in random metal.
Wow.
Still
Okay.
badass.
Rude.
Still badass. Still
Rude.
badass. What is it? Too soon?
Rude.
People not finished Endgame yet. Is it still too soon?
No. It's not too soon. It's just that's my favorite
I mean,
superhero of all time. So fuck
let's
off.
just face it. He's no Captain America, so
Wow. Okay. You just started Civil War Black Tower edition.
I'm fine with that. Fun fact about that is when the Civil War comics got super popular, I was still in high school, and our dumb no middle school, our dumb middle school asses divided our friend groups into fucking teams. They were either Team Iron Man or Team Captain America. They had like team captains and everything. We'd randomly like prank each other in the halls. That was back when Nut Wars was a thing.
Gross.
Not like that. You didn't run around trying to shoot people with your white cloak expulsion.
With your jizz cloak?
Yeah, with your jizz cloak. You just you try to like sack tap people and stuff.
Yeah,
But
no, I know. And then once you
Anyway,
got somebody good, every guy in the like 25-foot vicinity would just be like, huh?
you could sense it like a dad sensing that someone touched the thermostat.
Huh?
Just immediately, like, I feel nauseous. Somebody just lost a testicle.
Huh? But yeah, no, dude, honestly, in the the Civil War comics, Iron Man had no one could actually be Team Iron Man. Team Iron Man was not a thing for the comics because he is such a raging fucking cunt. Like, he is
Yeah.
the worst. Now, in the movie, he is actually the one who's right. They did a really weird job of actually making Iron Man the right one in the
I
movie.
don't want to say he's right. I would say that he's relatable and you can understand his character and you can definitely sympathize with him. And I feel the same way about Captain America
Well, okay, so my
because I
reasoning
honestly
behind that
agree
is
with both sides of their arguments.
so
It's one of those things like I agree with you both, so therefore I disagree with you both. So I just sit here in the middle, like Elayne shielded or Egwene shielded in the Stone of Tear.
sort
Matt,
of.
save me.
Sort of. Because I will say that in the movies, they actually ended up doing it with this sort of thing here was that everyone should be registered and there should be government oversight. And so Captain America is on the side of no government oversight. We're just all effectively vigilantes because governments are bad. And
Governments
Iron
have
Man is
agendas.
definitely standing there being like, no. I get that governments can be bad, but if we actually have good governing, then that is the best option. If we have bad governing, it's going to be just as bad as some of us being vigilantes. So if you go either way to the far end of either spectrum, it's bad. But Captain America is stuck all the way on one side of the spectrum, and he can't move to the other end of the spectrum at all because there's no government oversight. Iron Man
I
is
mean, that's fair.
hoping for good oversight while being aware that bad oversight can occur. And that's why
I
in the
mean,
movies, Iron Man is just correct. Because again, if it gets to the other side of the spectrum, sure, now we have to like think about what we're doing here. But with no government oversight, with no oversight whatsoever, it's also a really bad situation. So again, in the fucking comics, Tony Stark is the worst. He murders friends. He clones Thor. He fucks up so many times in so many ways and just turns into a raging, horrible dick face. The only person in the Civil War comics that's doing the right thing is Captain America, and he's absolutely right in the comics. In the movies, Captain America is kind of a dick because the only reason that he won't go ahead and do any government oversight is because he's like, no, Bucky. Bucky goes free or I walk. And they're like, Bucky can't go free. And he's like, fuck your government then.
I mean, to be absolutely fair, and this is jumping ahead to a point that I was going to make earlier, is by the end of this entire section, Tony Stark does the exact same thing. He says, "Fuck the government oversight. I'm going to lie to them. I'm going to do what I want to do because I want to pursue my own personal goals." Which, arguably, agreed. This is at a point. This is what Captain America is doing because he's trying to save a friend, but is not out of character for him. It's not new for him, and neither is it for Tony Stark.
Correct.
Um, and so he lies and sneaks off, and then him and Cap. This is the last time we get to see them kind of working together.
At least until
In the
Infinity
movie,
Wars.
before Captain
Or
America
Endgame.
spares his life. Yeah. Um, and then we ultimately get to see the fact that um, for me, you get a lot of you look at the history of them and their desires for the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Captain America has always been that um, fight evil wherever it may be. A better world for mankind means better freedom for mankind, which means freedom from oppression and plots and stuff. And he's seen the little organization that created the hero that he was, that has uh, says they're doing so much to keep the world safe, literally turn out to be completely 100% corrupt and the absolute worst thing to ever exist. So he's going to have this inherent distrust of any kind of government oversight, because the last time he was under government oversight for and faithfully since his inception into the military and then his inception as Captain America, literally just out of suddenly one day, you know what, we're going to just kill everybody that could be a potential threat in the future, men, women, children, and miscellaneous whatever in between alike. Then you have the Tony Stark that created Ultron, that he's haunted by the visions, he's haunted by the thought that he can't do what he needs to do, that he won't be able to protect the world, that he's willing to do anything that adds more, that he feels adds more overall protection to the world regardless of the consequences. That's why he made an AI using the Soul Stones blueprint, and thus resulting in this amalgamation of Ultron that took over Jarvis. But luckily, Jarvis's uh, plot line smarter in the MCU than he really is. I'm not saying that Jarvis doesn't do that in the comics. It's been forever since I've read them or looked at them, but it's just you have two very not mutually exclusive ideals, but the methods they're going by them are so mutually exclusive that you have two sides that, while they could completely coexist, and there was a very, very, very easy way to take and make that work for the betterment of both sides, they were too focused on the, well, you register or you don't register. Um, and ultimately it just came that, why should I have to sign up on a list uh, just to be allowed to do the right thing? And then, other people, well, they should know who we are and we should all be on a register and they should tell us when we can and can't go places. Um, they're both right and they're both absolutely fucking wrong. And it's I think
Correct.
that's one of the best things about Civil War is it gives you that catch-22. There is no actual winning. There's only the least disastrous outcome, and neither one can provide the least disastrous outcome. And in fact, it's everybody in between them, everybody else that's fighting, that ultimately pays the price. And that's something you don't get from the cinema MCU. You just get to see a bunch of people fight. It looks really cool. It's great cinematography. It's great CGI. It's really enjoyable, but you don't get to see the repercussions of what actually happens, like you do in the comics. Um,
Well, I
anyway,
mean, there are a couple of
nothing to do with
reasons
the
for
like.
that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for yeah, money's a big thing.
Well, I was
Kind
going
of
to
hard to
say
bring in.
time, because the Civil War
That too.
comics are a lot longer than they
Uh,
could have made into a movie. Um,
uh, like
but
Deadpool. It's like Deadpool all over again. It's almost like they couldn't afford to have another X-Men.
fucking Fox.
And it's not the way I wanted to see it. And I actually wanted to see it follow the comics the way it ended. I wanted to see Captain America get arrested. I wanted to see the scene on the courthouse steps. And I wanted to see. Obviously, that requires Fox and everybody to play nice and allow the actual Marvel-oriented mutants to fully join the MCU.
Yeah, which they definitely didn't have at that time.
Yeah, which they fucking should have, because it could have been dope. We could have got some Wolverine action at the tail end of Civil War before Hugh Jackman said that he was done.
Well,
But
he has technically said now that he will come back for at least another movie, since Disney owns it now.
I,
Now,
I
I
can't.
do actually hope that they just recast it and that they really very much will always be indebted to Hugh Jackman, but at the same time, it's time for somebody else to take over.
Yeah. Live listeners, you heard it here first. We are no longer a Wheel of Time podcast. We are now a Marvel Universe podcast. It's
Those
been a
can
fun run,
coexist. Are you kidding me?
but it's come to our attention through comments on a certain uh, very fantastic YouTuber's video that us making content based on the Wheel of Time is an exploitation of Robert Jordan's memory and estate. So we're now going to switch to Marvel so we can exploit Stan Lee's estate instead. True story. That's actually a true comment, Daniel.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
gross.
So Deborah, who some people know, some people don't, and will probably eventually become famous, has accused Nate Bliss of exploiting the estate of Robert Jordan by making videos on YouTube that discourage the individual reader's thoughtful process of actually reading a high fantasy series.
Gross.
And his response was fantastic. And ultimately, there was one point where it culminated into, Deborah, would you consider supporting me on Patreon? And it was golden.
That does sound golden. Anyway, so Elayne is basically like Iron Man. No.
I mean, she does have, like, the strawberry blonde color. The color scheme fits.
The color scheme fits. It does.
I don't know. She probably still freezes at high altitude, so I wouldn't really test.
Oh, I guarantee that she freezes at high altitudes. It's just I haven't figured out how to go up that high yet.
But we're not too far from getting to the scene that is one of them that pisses me off the most in the series.
Oh yeah,
too far off. Yeah, actually, no, we've already passed it because you've already passed. When they're in the Panarch's palace.
What pisses you off about the Panarch's palace? I'm definitely interested in going back to figuring that out.
I think I might be thinking about the wrong scene. I think I might be thinking about the wrong palace.
What scene? What palace?
You know what I'm talking about with Thailand.
Oh, yeah, we haven't made it there at all. We're like way before that.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're way before that.
Look, all right, it's been an absolutely crazy day for me, all right? The mind is still scattered. So
but funny story. It is almost 5 here, which means that it's almost 8 there.
True.
We actually have until a lot to go. So, just warning all of you right now that this might end up being a 2-parter. Mostly because we got off on so many wonderful tangents. But let us continue, because as you said, we do still have at least like 30 more minutes.
Yeah.
We should probably stop at about 8:15 to go ahead and actually give us time for all of our send-offs and stuff, which take us forever. But at the same time, we still have like 30 minutes.
I try to make sure that, we've always, well, I don't want to say always, but for the longest been recording our episodes on Wednesdays. So considering that there's a certain other very popular YouTube live broadcast that happens on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or some people get triggered by me calling it Standard Time, Eastern Time. Jesus Christ, fucking politically correct shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this time we can bump it up early, so we wanted to do that to give people that are either listening live a chance to experience and enjoy both.
Indeed.
But anyway,
please. So, Elayne, once they get saved from the Stone of Tyr, they don't really do a whole lot of stuff in the actual battle for the Stone of Tyr. They're mostly just getting saved, but they do get saved and they do take a Black Sister hostage. So they do that, which is great. Now it's with Julian and Matt's help. Though again, that's always a fun scene to me in some ways, because they absolutely get themselves out of it, but also didn't have any plan for after they get themselves out of it. And so Matt and Julian are very helpful in getting them out of it. But it's one of those things where I'm not 100% sure Matt and Julian were necessary to get them out of it. It's just one of those fun scenes where like both sides are like, psh, I didn't need you. And the other side's like, psh, you needed me the whole time. And so it's a great scene where everybody's just like, no, but we had this handled. And they're like, but I came for you in Tyr. And it's like, it's a fun scene. Anyway.
They just need Loyal to like pop up out of the darkness and just be like, Tavirin. And then sink back into it and disappear.
Wait, would he pop up and just be like, Tavirin, click, 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 Zoradberg, and then just scuttle off?
Stop putting a long handle on your axe, man. Just turn Loyal into Zoidberg.
Yes, we did.
That would
Your
be
humans are so
fantastic.
hasty. But yeah, so they don't really help that much in the
What's a
fight.
meal?
But yes, they do go ahead and take a Black Sister hostage while all of the events of killing Belal and whatnot are happening. Um, and then she and Rand get some sexy well, not sexy times, but
It definitely ain't the sexy
intimate
time yet, brother.
times. Some intimate
They get some.
times.
They get some high school sweetheart time.
They do. Yes,
Meet me
there we
under the
go.
bleachers during the big game.
Yeah, right before the big game.
Home won't be the only thing coming.
Wait, no, not yet.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't actually happen. Well, just because they didn't do it
Oh,
doesn't
fair.
mean one of them didn't need new trousers.
Fair. And let's be honest, depending on who plays her in the series, a number of us might need new trousers
as well. True.
Anyway, but yeah, so she really does realize that she is 100% in love with Rand. Rand gets dumped by Egwene, but it's not even really a dumping because he was already like, nah, I don't really feel it for Egwene like that. And Egwene's like,
he just kind of goes like, oh, thank God you said it before I had to.
Right? And the best part is that we get it from Rand's perspective. We don't actually get it from Egwene's, but you know that Egwene, and again, let me be very clear, this is not sexist thing. Guys absolutely do this too if this happens the other way around and whatnot. That it's absolutely like Egwene goes to him and she's like, oh, man, Rand, this is going to hurt you so much and I'm so sorry about this, but I see you like a really good friend or like a brother, not like a boyfriend. And then he goes, oh my God, I'm so glad that you said it first because I was thinking the same thing. What? And then right at that moment, you know Egwene was like, wait, excuse me?
Son of a bitch, what?
Wait, no, I want you now. A little bit. No, I don't want you. I made this pact with Elayne, we're good, but fuck you. And again, guys would do that too. Absolutely, if Rand was like, oh man, Egwene, this is gonna hurt you so much because we're like, we're basically betrothed, but I see you like a sister. And then she was like, oh my God, Rand, thank you so much for saying that. I'm so glad you said it first.
The rest of the series.
What?
He does it to regular women the rest of the series.
Oh, he does.
A romantic relationship. Like, I know your honor, but I just can't let you die. And they're like, go fuck yourself. And he's like,
you don't get to say whether I die or not, bitch.
Listen, I'm in my emo Rand phase. Leave me alone and let me cry in the corner while listening to MCR.
Hey, I'm in emo Rand phase. I have a list. I say it to myself before I go to sleep every night. I do love
fucking creepy at all.
I do love the meme where there's the woman on the one side of the bed being like, I bet he's thinking about other women. And Rand just is. He absolutely is. 100%. He's always thinking about other women. Now, it's women that are dead and that he's responsible for, but he's absolutely thinking about other women every time.
So let's talk about these letters.
Oh yeah, because once they get their like happy times, and Egwene dumps him, or really they just decide to friend zone each other. Then Elayne steps in and she's like, but I like you a lot. And Rand's like, great, because I'm so glad you said it first. He does a lot of that in that scene. But then they get together and they have a bunch of like intimate moments in different parts of the castle. Or the Stone of Tyr, I guess. It's not a castle. It's a castle. It's a fortress. Whatever. But they all have to go do things. So finally they have to say goodbye. And so they do. And Elayne does it in the most confusing fucking way possible.
Yeah. So she writes him the first letter because she wants Rand to keep her fondly in his heart. And this is what romance is. And this is how things go. Check yes. Do you love me? Check yes or no. And she's checked yes and he's checked yes. But he knows that anybody around him is a target, right? So when she's like, oh yeah, we've got to leave to go do this thing, he's like, fantastic, go do the thing. Be yourself. he's meaning it like you're gonna be safe. Go do your thing. Do what you need to do. I got to do things I need to do. And Elayne takes it as a go fuck yourself. It was fun while it lasted, but I've got other booty to tackle. And so she writes him a letter telling him to go fuck himself. And Rand spends the next, I don't know, until he actually really has a conversation. No, because he doesn't have the conversation with her. He kind of has a proxy conversation for a little bit with Egwene, I think. Because doesn't Egwene send word to him through the dreams? Or Elayne sends word through Egwene while they're training. Well, while Egwene is training with the Wise Ones, that she loves him and everything because she feels bad about the go fuck yourself letter.
Well, no,
But
it's
then
even
tells him
more
I meant every
confusing than.
word in both of those letters.
Yeah, exactly. It's the most confusing shit. Did we
I
mention
love you and I
no
want
one
your
in the
babies,
Wheel
but
of
if you ever come
Time?
near me again, I'm gonna cut your dragon off.
Right? And it's so crazy because, again, this is
And
just a situation where no one learned how to communicate.
the best part is Elayne is still sitting there like, why can't he just read the signs I'm giving him? And Rand's just like looking at a fucking sign that points literally every way possible. It's like, oh,
Right?
fuck it. I'm just gonna focus on trying to find and kill some Forsaken. Fuck it.
Right? Which is what he does. And then he just gets laid later, and everything's fine.
Yeah.
It's not
And in the
Elayne.
process, she gets to
He
make two other
doesn't.
women. I mean, true. He gets laid by the best.
By the
The
goat.
best. Yes, the greatest of all time.
Wait, the Goa.
She really knows
The
how to
greatest
handle a
of all
spear.
the
So
Aviendas.
she really knows how to handle a spear. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Nah, but
which is both
she only
equally
uses the
enticing
short
but equally
spears.
terrifying. Hey, it still gets the job done. It's not about the size of the boat, the motion of the ocean.
Spoken like someone who has a small boat.
Eh,
I'm just kidding.
eh.
That is just the response I always see when somebody says that.
Not about the destination. It's about the journey.
Says
And savor the
spoken like
journey,
somebody with a small
like
destination.
a sweet sugary Tic Tac in your mouth. Just savor it.
Why is your dick
Because if you
sugary?
bite it, goes away.
Why is your dick sugary?
Because I'm
Who did
considerate.
that? Why would you do that?
Because I'm considerate.
That is
Nobody wants to taste nasty.
Hey, that is a recipe for a UTI. You get that shit off your dick right now.
Keep it away from. It's going way too far beyond what I thought it was.
No, this is fantastic. Tangents, rabbit hole,
Dipping in
rabbit
water,
hole.
dipping in sugar, dipping in her. Yeah, it's kind of.
Whoa. No, that is a guaranteed UTI. You get that shit away from me.
Not for me, it's not.
No, I know. You
Like
just
making
said
the
you were
world's worst
considerate,
ever,
sir.
chicken finger.
You just said
Yeah,
you
I
were
am.
considerate.
I am. I didn't say considerate to who.
Wow. Anyway, now that we've gone down
Such a fucking horrible tangent.
wonderful yet horrible tangent.
The previous tangent was brought to you for pure comedic value, not actual seriousness. Do not put sugar on your penis and then insert it into any kind of partner you may have. It will burn and give you a UTI.
In fact, just FYI, just don't put sugar on your dick. It'll give you a UTI.
Fair point.
Yeah. So just sugar and dicks. No. Hashtag nope. But speaking of sugar and dicks, Elayne leaves with Nynaeve.
That she does.
To go on a sea folk ship. And then gets to see all of the really dope ass things that the sea folk are doing. And they get
The
to
girthy weaves of wind and water.
Big girthy weaves. And they go to Terabon, to Ebadar, with the to hunt the Black Aja with the no, it's Terabon, not Ebadar.
Correct.
That's right. So this is not Ebudar yet. It's oh god, what city are they in? I don't remember.
That one city with that one name. Isn't it just Terabon?
Well, Terabon's the
Terabon's the
country.
Oh,
It's
ignore the sounds of me fiercely
Amathera,
trying.
and yeah, I've got to just look up Panarch Amathera. What is she the Panarch of?
Tanchico. That's it.
Tanchico! There we go.
How are we that
Tanchico.
dumb?
We are that
Tanchico is so
dumb.
popular. And the
Thank
sad
you.
part is two of our live listeners posted it, and I didn't even notice the new comment.
I
need to
did.
pay more
I
attention.
actually went to look it up, and then I was just like, somebody knows it, and so I went back, and you said it as I was reading it. So
Yeah.
Zol and Iris, you're fantastic. Keep
This
it
is the
up.
worst part about having like read the series and forgetting names. I
I
mean, it's
know.
understandable because there's so fucking many, but it's also you always feel dumb when you forget the name of a place.
Well, and especially I will admit that really, again, no, I'm not justifying us forgetting this because it was dopey. But at the same time, there are 3 cities that at least Nynaeve and Egwene and Elayne, or some combination of the 3, end up in that are all incredibly similar. In terms of like the environment that they're in and the fact that they're alone and the fact that they're like, different. So, because first there's Falm, where Egwene gets captured by the Shan-Chan, and then Elayne and Nynaeve are running around doing things. And then there's Tanchico, where it's Nynaeve and Elayne running around doing things. And then there's Ebu Dar, where it's Elayne and Nynaeve running around and doing things. So it's all just the same fucking city. I mean, it's not. It's absolutely not. And there are actually really dope things that happen in, both of those situations and whatnot, but they're all the same goddamn city.
Yeah,
also,
essentially.
We were totally wrong, by the way. Amadisia doesn't happen until after they leave Terabon. They actually just travel the ways with...
I thought
that
earlier.
They travel the ways with fucking
maybe we just
Rosebud Mouth instead, with Leandrin.
It just sounds like a fancy, polite way of saying someone has a mouth that looks like a puckered anus.
Kinda. Yes, you're right. Different dresses and hair. That's how you remember them. That's how you remember. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I don't associate cities with the styles of their woman. I respect woman.
Yeah.
So I don't objectify cities by the way their woman dress and the marriage knives I have dangling between their bosoms.
You don't need to do that. It's actually just Nynaeve is a person. So, like, she is a woman, and that's fine. But you can just remember them by how annoyed Nynaeve is with the way that they dress, and then how quickly she starts to dress like them.
True. And how always embarrassed she is that she's wearing it, and complainant she is, but how much she loves doing it.
Oh,
because
exactly.
Lan might show up at any second.
And Lan's favorite color is green. Or blue.
Or she
red?
assumes, at least.
But anyway, so yeah, this is actually all before Elaida takes over. Elaida actually takes over after the Stone of Tyr, which I thought was true, but at the same time was like, no, the Makura bitch she does her thing after that. So again, she doesn't actually take over until after the Stone of Tyr, so we were just a little early. We like to do that.
Yeah.
Portal stones, the Makura woman, all of that good stuff. But anyway,
we're just jumping all around. Nothing says it has to be exactly linear.
Fair. You're not wrong.
We're talking about a character. We can jump all over her story arc.
True. But yeah, so they go to Tanchico, and they are, as this says, wonderful, instrumental in routing the Black Aja in Tanchico and returning the Panarch Amathera to her office. And this is where we actually get the Panarch's Palace, which is not Tylan. Tylan is not actually a Panarch.
Yes, you are absolutely correct.
But the Panarch's Palace is where Moghedien and Nynaeve fight. And also where, a bunch of this different stuff is.
Yeah.
And it's a really good city. I actually really like the whole of this sort of Tanchico arc. It's really interesting. And again, I really love the way Julian and Tom are
Yeah, we
put
get to see
together.
Tom play daddy to
We
Elayne,
do.
which he
It's not.
thoroughly
He does
enjoys.
not
But
play daddy. He plays
uh,
Papa.
it's
Those are two
Papa,
different words
daddy,
at this point.
pick. Yeah, tomato, tomato, potato, pizza.
Forgive me,
Um,
Father, for I have sinned. Punish me, Daddy, because I've been a bad girl. Those are two very different statements, even though they're the
only for the
same
dirty and
words.
impure minds, you heathen. How dare you ruin the sanctity of our fatherly addresses?
I didn't do it. Someone else did. Many other people did.
Yeah.
That being said, yeah, I really like Tanchico. It's a really cool area. It's not my favorite because Abu Dar is actually more fun because that's where they find. Or no. Tanchico is where they meet Egeanin. So yeah, Tanchico is one of my favorite ones because they get down with Egeanin and she's fucking great. And again, it's one of those great like moments where it starts to build a foundation for another character arc later. As well as it's one of those great things where, like, again, Egeanin is just 100% on board with everything that the Shan-Chan do.
Is
And
Tanchico where Elayne gets like super fucking drunk and tries to make moves on Tom, and he's like,
yes, it is.
Okay,
that is correct.
Yeah,
that's the first time. Well, that's when she gets rip-roaring drunk. Later on, Birgitta gets rip-roaring drunk, and Elayne feels the effects of it. But I think this is the last time that we actually see Elayne get super drunk. Because it happens like a couple of times before this, but it's not really anything of note. She just gets drunk, and then Nynaeve is judging her. But at this time, she gets really drunk, tries to go make Tom daddy, and he's like, no, I'm not doing this. Go to bed. You're drunk.
Pull him in the bed by his mustaches.
Basically.
Like, bitch, I used to fuck your mom. Leave me alone. This is not our relationship. And you know that.
Hey,
that's a very interesting,
Elayne, I am literally the definition of a motherfucker. You don't want to do this.
It's like a very interesting, like, study in psychology. There's something to be said about, like, an Oedipus-like syndrome there.
Oh, it is. No, well, and of course, it is also one of those really kind of makes a lot of sense in this context, given that she is having such a hard time figuring out what about Tom is so familiar, her relationship to him, everything like that. And when you're, really young, and you have an incredibly close relationship with someone, and then you can't really remember it that well later on, and now you're a very different person with, let's be honest, very different hormones and whatnot, and you're trying to figure out what intimate relationship that would have been, or what it could be, or what it should be, or anything like that. It starts to make some sense, especially when you have your inhibitions lowered, that would be the way it should be. And Tom's like, no. I'm like your father. Go to bed, you drunk bitch. And she's like, oh, that's what it is. All right, cool. Tom's like my dad. Like, this is like, great.
Nynaeve was just like, you shameless hussy, and like shoves her face in like a bucket of like ice cold water or some shit. Get your wits about you.
It's so good.
So there is something like just inherently disgusting about the I know you, but I don't know how I know you. Let's fucking find out.
Kind of. And it's very wrong.
It's never worked for me ever in a bar. Like, I feel like I know you, but not sure. Let's go back to my place and find out. It's generally like, no, let's not.
Well, I mean, usually the other person has to have some recollection of you. Just find somebody that you barely know, that you met one time, that you made some kind of impression on, and try it with them. I bet it'll work.
I feel like that's like the worst type of dating advice ever.
It is. It's absolutely horrible and gross. But anyway, all that happens, and it's actually a wonderful scene. I actually really like the way that Tom handles himself because, as we have talked about, Tom is a class act. Um, but anyway, they do all of this stuff in Chanchico, and then they actually kind of have to leave in a hurry because the city kind of erupts in fighting and whatnot. And they go and end up being sort of getting um almost captured.
Mm-hmm.
This is the point where they have the fork root thing. And this time
Yeah.
it's just Julian and Tom. That's right. Julian and Tom come to their rescue because it is actually in the other place. It's in Falm, which is where they not Falma in Tyr, sorry, where they meet Julian.
Yeah.
And he does get compulsed to help Leandrin capture them again. But Matt and Julian save them from that. But this time, Julian and Tom aren't actually there when Nynaeve and Elayne get fork rooted. But they do discover where they are and get them out of it.
Yeah.
And then as they're going through Amadisia, because this is where they go through Amadic, they end up going ahead and joining up with Val and Luca's traveling show. Because they're looking for they have now discovered that the tower has fallen, if you will, or it has split because Elida has now taken over. And how they find out that Elida has taken over is the Makira woman, because she actually does have the orders to bring back sisters to the tower by any means necessary. But she also gives away a lot while she's stalling to go ahead and give them the fork root.
Yeah, very true.
And so now they don't really have a destination because they were set to go out and bring the seal that they find in Tanchico to the tower. And now they don't want to go back to the tower. And so they kind of like get turned around a lot. They do a little bit of just kind of aimless wandering. And then they end up going towards Saladar because they find out that that's where the rebel Aes Sedai are starting to gather.
Yeah.
But
Gallet shows up in Sienda.
Yes. Well, and technically in Sienda, they have not yet joined up with the circus. Galed is actually kind of a reason that they join up with the circus.
Yeah.
Because he is like, you're coming back home to Camelin, and Elayne's like, no, the fuck I'm not. Partially because I hate you.
Yes. It's also during the circus that they meet the Shanshan woman, Sarandon.
Or
Sarandon, yeah. Who is one of the animal trainers.
Her first name is Susan. It's Susan Sarandon.
Okay. So they meet Susan, and she actually winds up giving Nynaeve and Elayne one of the Adam.
Correct.
And this is kind of where Elayne is first really cutting her teeth into learning to understand Terangrial.
Yes, correct. And fucking Nynaeve hates it.
Yeah, and Elaine's like, I think I could make more. And Nynaeve's like, the fuck would you want to do that for?
I don't even want this one around us, you bitch.
I got another bucket of water with your fucking name on it.
Yep.
Fucking drunk bitch.
But yeah, I think this is actually a good place to stop. When they join the circus, is kind of a good midpoint for Elayne's story. Actually, she has a lot more stuff later on.
Oh yeah.
But I think that that's probably a really good place to give a little pause and talk about some other stuff and move on later.
So for those of you that are super excited for part 2 of this, or can't wait to hear part 2 of this, you will have to wait at least a week beyond this episode posting because the next week we are doing the last book review of the series.
Yup.
Because as those of you who are astute or can read or pick any reason, it doesn't matter what, would see there's only one book from the series that we have not covered yet. Um, and we will be covering it next week. So those of you that are massive fans of New Spring, uh, along with the rest of us that are just absolute fans of the series, as well as individual books, that is what next week's episode is supposed to be on.
Indeed.
Things may change.
Things
Things
could
always
change.
happen. And then after that, we will probably resume and finish Elayne, and then we'll probably do a different topic, and then maybe another character, or something like that.
Who knows?
Who knows?
We usually don't even know.
Yeah, things pop up last minute, and things like today, we last minute changed the topic we had planned on.
Correct.
So it's fine as long as everybody enjoys it. I know we have a lot of fun doing this.
Damn
The
straight.
the live part of this has been super excited.
Yes. And thank you so much,
Super excited,
guys.
super exciting, not super excited. I don't know
Both.
how you guys feel. You seem to enjoy it. Let me put it that way. Do we excite you?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? But yeah, for those of you who have been listening live, thank you for your contributions. They have been super fun. I have certainly enjoyed them. I know that Andrew has also enjoyed them. And for as he mentioned earlier, if there was any part of the show that you didn't understand at all, that was just like a thrown out comment, it was probably because there was something funny going on in chat, or at least apropos, and we were responding to it. Because the people who are with us, shout out to those of you who stayed pretty much the entire time, if not actually the entire time. Iris, Jack, Twisted Distress, Zol, and then special shout out also to those of you who I saw, popping in and out. The Wheel Reads, and a couple of others. You guys are great. We really appreciate you being on and talking with us. But yeah, if you want to get in on that sweet live show action, definitely recommend it. It's super fun and we enjoy ourselves a lot, and so you should definitely do that in our Discord.
And during the coronavirus pandemic, we are absolutely waiving the requirement or restriction that it's Patreons only.
Yes,
specifically our dedicated tier and above.
Yes, starting in a month and a half, when everything reopens, you will need to be a Patreon. But we are giving you the first taste for free because that's what good drug dealers do.
Jesus Christ. Whenever the pandemic calms down, things get back to some sense of normality. It will be going back, because it was initially conceptualized as a Patreon benefit.
Yes.
And so that at some point it will be going back to that. And there's things that even listening live, that if you're not already on Patreon, that you won't get to hear unless you become a patron, like our pre-recordings. Because even live, we might sit in the voice channel, but we're muted for as long as the pre-recording takes. And we've been
I think
pretty
we
good
were
the
on
last
today
few.
for like 8 minutes, just silently judging everyone.
I think it was about great. 20 or so. I was trying to talk while you had to deal with a couple things, so that it wasn't just absolute silence.
So, no. Patreon. The pre-recording was more like 25 minutes, maybe 30. But we were like on the Discord voice chat, just being completely silent for like 8 minutes while we finished up the pre-recording.
True.
It was funny. True. And then, of course, we had technical difficulties that lasted like 15 minutes.
Thanks,
more
Discord.
than that. Discord being stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's fun to watch the couple of people, the good handful of people that have been in the live recording text and that kind of stuff. We can see you guys having an absolute ton of fun, enjoying just talking with each other, chatting back and forth with each other, even if it's not on voice. So in the future, check out Patreon. In the meantime, for literally $1, which is still asking a lot, especially during a pandemic, and by no
Truth.
means is it required. Um, but of course, it does help support the podcast. For $1 on Patreon, you will get access to the pre-recording stuff. So if that's something that may interest you, as someone else explained to someone else earlier today, if you enjoy the episodes, you will enjoy the pre-recording. And of course, you can find that at patreon.com/Black Tower Pod.
Yes, Jack, it was you.
As I type it in to absolutely make sure that I didn't give the wrong URL. Yep.
No, you're good.
Patreon.com/Black Tower Pod. There's 4 tiers. There's a $1, $4, $8, and $10 for those of you feeling extra feisty.
Indeed.
Um,
If you're feeling extra tainted.
Yep. It goes from Soldier, Dedicated, Ashaman, and then we threw in Quendiar Ashaman because I needed to edit tiers, and someone was subscribed at a tier that I couldn't edit, so I had to add in a tier or rename
Why
to
are
a
you
tier.
giving all the secrets?
Well, because radical transparency.
No,
right?
I
Just like all of Elayne stresses, radical transparency.
Yeah. Grandal stresses.
Yeah, both of them.
Barrelane's the strong
She's only slightly more. She's only
Grandal
slightly more modest than
just...
Grandal. All right, they're both thoughts.
Oh, they're both thoughts.
Except towards the end, Barreling gets better, but she's still a thought.
True.
And yes, naive anytime she's in Teleron Real.
Or with Lana in private.
Yeah. As for those of you that don't wish to do Patreon or can't do Patreon or whatever the reason is, which is absolutely more than fine. Doing things like liking our episodes that come out on whichever platform they do, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, when it uploads to YouTube,
Podbean,
or on Podbean, dropping comments, reviews, and stuff like that does help. The downloads help tremendously with our analytics.
Truth.
And the more downloads we get, the more kind of readily available the podcast is in searches for the people that are searching for it. And we know there's going to be a ton of people searching for it.
We hope.
Hopefully, as 2021 rolls around, I feel confident it's going to happen.
True.
Within the first half of 2021, but we'll see. I have been proven wrong far too many times to say that's an absolute certainty.
But yeah, so
if you want to get in contact with us, go ahead.
Oh, and I was going to say, not only do just comments and whatnot help the podcast as it proliferates and all of that, but it also actually just really helps us with feedback. We definitely do a lot of our own thing here just because we're very Ashaman in our attitudes as well as our characters. But at the same time, we do still do this for you guys. And so if there is something that we are doing a lot of that you really like, or not enough of that you really like, or a lot of that you don't like, or, things like that, please let us know, because we're pretty flexible. And so we really like being flexible and enjoying ourselves, but we also can easily do that sort of a little left of center of what we've normally been doing or anything like that.
Speak for yourself. I even think about trying to touch my toes and I get a Charlie horse. I'm not flexible, sir.
You're flexible in your mind.
The mind's flexible, but the body's rigid as stone. A serious condition. Don't look at a Gorgon.
It's true. But yeah, let us know, because we can modify a little, and we'd be happy to. It's certainly not like you'd be asking us too much to do anything like that, and we would let you know if it was. But yeah, so please give us feedback, positive, negative, or otherwise, because that really just helps us with making content that is stuff that you guys want. And while it's certainly, again, we started this podcast to be able to do what we want, it's still also about you, and we would love to make it about you. So let us know.
We are looking at because we put out a poll on Twitter earlier today, way earlier today, because there's only 9 hours left as we're talking, at just over 8:30 p.m. EST on the 25th of March 2020. To give you the full date and time, asking roughly what time zones everyone was in, because we know this is not always the best time for people to try to come in live. And at the very least, while it's kind of open to the public and all you have to do is join our Discord to be able to access it, it would be nice if we could, and we'll talk about how much we can do it. It's definitely something we all want to do. Do this at potentially
Oh
different
god,
times on a Wednesday, so that other people in other time zones besides
guys, I
Eastern
lost
Standard
Andrew.
Time or Eastern Time, as I've been so graciously
He
corrected
died
on
off
Twitter
Zencaster.
for somebody's pet
Oh,
peeve.
he's back.
Oh, did it cut me out on
Sorry, only on
Zencaster?
Zencaster. I don't think it did it on the live
Yeah,
recording.
it's
But
just
you might want to.
Zencaster. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows?
Anyway, as I was saying, as I have been so graciously corrected, not everybody are by calling EST, it's just ET apparently, or EDT or whatever. I don't really care. Everybody knows what I mean when I say EST. Um, it does seem like the majority of our fans are kind of EST, but there's a very large spread across PST, GMT, and several other time zones: MST, CST, CET, like German time,
Yeah,
which is yeah. There's just a whole bunch
nice.
of time zones, and we want to try to make this as available as we can beyond just the plain recordings. So yes, GMT as well. Um, so we will try our best as much as we reasonably can to maybe do this at different times so that our fans from other countries and other time zones can listen live and not have to miss out on it, especially while it is 100% free. So if you want to get in contact with us, one of the easiest ways is to go to our hosting site, blacktowerpod.podbean.com. If you are on your computer, I know for a fact that if you look to the kind of left side of the screen, underneath our logo and where it says follow and everything, which by the way, if you're there and you wouldn't mind, click that follow because that helps with analytics as well.
Yeah,
There are
analytics.
links, yeah, analytics, which ultimately helps with exposure. The more exposure we get, the better chance we have of being able to do cool stuff for the listeners in the future. It'd be fantastic to be able to do giveaways and stuff in the future, but that requires the dinero that is not so plentiful, especially during pandemic times.
Correct.
Um, but there are links to our Twitter, the YouTube, our Discord. Which, if the Discord ever doesn't work, please send us a message on Twitter. Send us an email, which you can at blacktowerpod@gmail.com. There's also a link to the Patreon and a link to our little merch store, who during the pandemic has put a halt on their shipping, but it is a great thing to go and peruse and think on for weeks and weeks and weeks while you're stuck at home staring at your computer screen or your phone screen anyway. That was a lot of
Yay!
breath, a lot of air.
You've gotten good at that,
But
though. I like that.
did I plug? Did we plug everything? Everything plugged?
Everything plugged
Yeah.
with the grounding wire.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah. But huge thank you, a huge shout out to all of you that listen to the episodes, that put up with our shenanigans. And we don't mean the restaurant, but please don't pistol whip me, or do. It's a free country. I'll I'll take whatever attention I can get. Hit me harder. I'm just kidding.
Harder, Daddy.
No.
Harder, Tom.
But we sincerely thank you all. Whatever platform you watch on or listen on, rather, which is more accurate. Um, and those of you that go above and beyond making sure that you do download the episodes, which we have cracked 41,000 lifetime downloads for the podcast, which is
Woot!
amazing to me.
It's fantastic. Thank you
But
so
reach
much,
out,
guys.
talk. Now is one of the best times. I mean, every time is the best time, but now is
True.
one of the more easier times to be involved with the Twitter of Time community. Listen to us. Tell us how wrong or right you think we are, and we do our best to respond to everything we can. And while you're waiting for us to respond, go check out some other lovely Wheel of Time content creators, or as a certain YouTube commenter says, all of us that are exploiting Robert Jordan's legacy for millions and millions of dollars that none of us actually have. Yeah, it's a true comment. You can go and find it, and it's absolutely hilarious. That's not to breed anybody to go and be like, "Oh, fuck yourself" or something like that. No, it's
Yeah,
fine.
no, it
Don't
was
worry
just a
though.
funny comment.
the YouTuber has handled it. The
Indeed.
YouTuber's comments are funny. This
Yeah.
person is legit serious.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant the exchange is funny, not the
Oh yeah,
comment
it's
that
fucking
they
funny.
put. But yeah, yes. In fact, we are going to sign off. But thank you guys for listening live. If you are live right now, please go and watch Dusty Wheel. He will be live in 20 minutes. They will
If
be
you're
live in
not
20
listening
minutes.
live, yeah, in about 20 minutes.
If you're
If
not
you're not
listening
listening
live,
live,
this will be edited out, and you won't even notice.
yeah, this coming Wednesday, and there's probably going to be other dates thrown in there as well. I think the next one is it on the first? No, it's on the 29th. Sarah Nakamura is actually going to be on the Dusty Wheel on the 29th of March.
Ooh, nice.
But typically they do things on Wednesdays, but you know, when an amazing person says they want to come on your show, then you take it when you can get it, as I
Damn
do with most of my life.
straight.
Is it Friday? Is it the 27th or is it the 29th? Well, anyway, if you go to YouTube and go to the Dusty Wheel, they set up all the alerts and everything to premiere all their episodes.
Correct.
They're all live on the date that they premiere, of course. Go listen to them, go enjoy in the chat, and have a lot of fun. Definitely go and support what they do over there.
Absolutely.
But for those of us here at Ye Old Black Tower, I have been Andrew.
And I have been Daniel. Thank you very, very much. And I could do
We will
this
see
all
you
day.
motherfuckers next week. Yeah, well, what you said was a lot nicer. Edit my own track. Goodbye.
Bye.